Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the preview show for the game Everton versus Spurs in the fifth round of the FA Cup kickoff, 8:15 tomorrow. And I'm joined by some special guests as per usual. We have Mike and a new member of the team, as we always get in our extended members now. Gerard, how are you doing?
I'm good. Pleased to be here, boys. Thank you for letting me join the gurus of White Hart Lane. Here we go. So I'm excited. I've been building up to this all day.
Dear. Well, that's good to hear. As you know, we were happy on, what was it? When did we play? Sunday? Was it Sunday?
Yeah.
Sunday. After the dismal results that we had the last few games, and then Sunday, we was all smiling. But we did all say, it's West Bromwich Albion. But that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Spurs are back on the march again, and we look forward to the game tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Everton, fifth round of the Cup. Well, we'll get straight into this, lads. Where do you think the FA Cup stands in terms of the priority for the team and obviously the manager for this season? I'll come to you first, Mike, on that one. What's your thoughts?
I personally think this has got to sit high, maybe potentially the highest on our priorities, especially for Jose. I think this does. I'd say it sits higher than the League Cup, probably higher than Europa, because I mean we've had a relatively easy run in these domestic cups. You look at the League Cup, we hadn't really played anyone of any significance, and that final was in the bag. But I think this FA Cup, we haven't won it since, was it 1991?
1991.
Yeah, 1991. It's a long time for us, and I mean, it's a cup that I would like to see Tottenham. I'd like us win this cup more so than the League Cup.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say this sits high on our list of priorities.
Gerard, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts? Do you think this is top priority for Jose and the team this season?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I think the Carabao Cup, obviously, as Mike said, we're in the final. Jose's interview, he said he's got a little feeling that we could do something well in the Europa Cup. I don't know if you saw that after the match on Sunday. But right up there. And I'll take a couple of cup wins this year, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
exactly. I think from Jose is very. I listened to that interview as well, Jordan, and it gave me the feeling that he not to say he's neglected the league, but I don't think he's as focused. Obviously, the mantra that he uses is every game we want to win every game. That's probably very true, but he knows he's not going to win every game. If he's going to target anything, I really believe that the Europa Cup is the target for Jose. A, it gets us into the Champions League, and B, it's a European trophy. I think the FA Cup does probably sit very high up as well, and the cups I think are the priority for the club this season. That's why Jose's been brought in. There's no other reason I believe in terms of bringing a manager like Jose in other than to win. So yeah, I can see us probably having a strong lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll have to have a big lineup, a strong lineup. There's a big question for me. You know, Harry made the difference. We miss Harry. What a difference Kane makes! Unbelievable difference team right throughout the whole 11 on Sunday. Question for me is this little bit of plaudits Lamela got for making a lot of effort, but I just worry about the output from all of that effort. And when we talk about the team, that's going to be interesting about who plays behind Harry and Sonny, because I think he'll start with them both. I think they'll be up front tomorrow.
So that's what I'm moving on to. And I'll come to you because you started on that. What's your thoughts on the predicted lineup? Given the fact that we started, I would say probably our best available 11. Well, it's debatable whether you call it the best available 11 because the centre-backs, we've had this discussion before, Sanchez and Alderweireld don't fill me with the most confidence in the world. Ben Davies had a really good game at the weekend. Aurier played well as well. I think the whole team did. And that, coupled with the fact that Harry Kane being back, certainly gave everybody a lift. And it was always going to be a must-win game. Had the unthinkable happened against West Brom, it might be a different conversation that we're having about Jose and the team going into the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my thoughts, I'll give my own thoughts on the lineup. I think he's going to go strong. There was some talk about Aurier being a bit of a doubt. I've got here Lo Celso's definitely out, Reguilon's out. Although Dele's trained, he doesn't, and this is according to Jose, he doesn't believe that Dele will be in a position to start, but we know how Jose likes to pull rabbits out the bag and out the hat, as they say. It's up front, which I'm interested. Is he going to play Kane again, knowing that we've got a big game on Saturday against Manchester City? So in terms of your thoughts on the lineup,
I think
I'll come to you.
Big game Saturday is tomorrow night, potentially a bigger game for this year. And therefore, I think he'll start with the two guys up front with Harry and Sonny. You've just said there Reguilon's out, and I think they've missed Reguilon. And it's a question of, if we go with Lo Celso's out, all of that, Moira or Bergwijn, or maybe Moira and Bergwijn. I worry about Bergwijn. I've always thought he looks about a stone or two overweight. He still looks a bit chunky. When he came, they said he was the fastest player in Holland, and I've never. He runs, but again, and what does he deliver? So I love Moira. I think he's our man. Effort, endeavour, pace. He can pull him out wide, all of that type of stuff. But at the back, Toby just looks suddenly a yard slower in the last few games. Sanchez worries me. However, Sanchez with the height and with the defensive headers against Calvert-Lewin tomorrow might well get the nod, or our man Roden. But what's going on with Eric Dyer? What's happened there? Suddenly just not even he wasn't even in the squad, was he, on Sunday?
He was on the squad. He was on the bench because you can name 9 players now. So it's hard to be left out. If you do get left out of a Jose squad now, that means you're really doing something wrong, unless you're injured. So I personally believe that Dyer is still probably in Jose's thinking because of his leadership qualities. I think he's got a good relationship with him, and I don't think he'll be kept out in the cold too much. So for that reason, I think that we'll probably see Dyer start tomorrow. Coming to you, Mike, what's your thought on the starting lineup? And
do you know what? I wouldn't change a single player from Sunday. I know he probably will, but for me,
even given the game on Saturday, even though it's Saturday,
I'd make the change. I'd run the risk. I'd play this team I'd play the team that played Sunday as much as I can. I know Aurier is a doubt, so you'll probably find that Doherty will get the nod at right back. But it's the consistency. We need to build on from the last couple of games where prior to the WBA game, we've been awful. We haven't turned up yet. We put in a good shift. The energy levels were good. The performance was good, and we kept a clean sheet. So, from my perspective, I'm of that philosophy. The philosophy of why change something if it's not broken. And I know we've got Man City at the weekend, but in the grand scheme of things, and we've mentioned it already, what game's more important? For me, I'd rather us get through to the next round of the FA Cup, because once you start getting into the quarterfinals, etc., you're counting down to the games that you've got until you play the finals. So I'd play the same team as we did on Sunday.
Okay.
As much as we can. I know there's noise about Dele being fit, but I can't see him starting. Not when he's been out for the last however many games. I'd keep him on the bench, bring him on. That's what I would do. I'd play the same team. I wouldn't really mess about.
Everton's best player, I think, this season.
James.
Let's play. Oh, I think Decore.
Are you saying Decore? Okay.
Yeah, effort, up and down, box to box, scored at the weekend, etc., etc. And I think that is there a chance that we'll bring back number 17 to have to sort of the big man in the middle of the park, Sissoko, to hold off.
Gerard, you started off so well. And now you've got to mention the S word. There's 2 S words in our camp: Sanchez and Sissoko, both of which we give right patience to. But I'll let you continue. Sorry about that. It just went through my head. Sorry.
Just Decore, I think he's the one that we've got to stop, you know, and Højbjerg can do it, but he's going to need that support. And I just think that's that middle three. What are we going to do in the middle? And, you know, do we bring big Sissoko in to offset against Decore, you know, and if it's a chilly night and we ruffle his feathers, I think James is a 1-goal man. He was coming off at the weekend until he scored. And who set it up? Decore. Who scored? Decore. You know, so and then they brought on one of my old favourites, Gylfi. You know, so you know, let's see. But maybe Sissoko just to hold Decore.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I personally don't think he's going to play Aurier because of the fact that he's probably carrying a little bit of an injury. I don't think he can afford to lose him for any long length of time, given that Matt Doherty is not playing as well as he should be. Also, with that, are we looking at maybe some changes in midfield? Lamela, again, an injury-prone player to play 2 games on the trot. I would love to see Lamela play again, and I think you're right in what you're saying, Mike. To keep the same team would be really beneficial. But do we run the risk of maybe, you know, pushing Lamela a little bit too much? He's been at the club for 8 years, and he's never really been that consistent week in, week out. He
came off sort of like midway through the second half, didn't he? Like
72 minutes, I think it was.
70-something minute, wasn't it? 70-something minute. So I reckon he brought him off early in the mindset of, I want to use you for midweek. Because otherwise you'd have just given him 90 minutes, wouldn't you? Because he was having a good game. His energy levels were good. He was all over the place. So I think he brought him off early with this game in mind. And I'm hoping Mourinho doesn't change too much because, as I say, if you keep a consistent team, you can build upon something. And if you then have to make the odd change here and there, then it's easier to do rather than bring in, say, a handful of changes when there's not really any need to. I know we've got the game against Man City, but would you rather take I suppose the question would be, would you rather take a win in the FA Cup against Everton and a defeat against Man City? I think the answer is it answers. Well, for me, it answers itself because I won a trophy this season, so I want every game where we can possibly have the best chance of doing that to be in it. I don't think we're going to win the league. It's looking more and more likely that it's going to be City's, but Jose is very competitive in that sense against Pep Guardiola, so he won't want to lose that game. And we've got a pretty decent record against City in the last few games anyway. So I think it might, in itself, take care of itself that game. So you're right. I think we will go all out for this game tomorrow. I'll just come to a few comments here because we've got a few coming through. Good evening, gentlemen. This is from Solo 1979. Good evening. Jose wants a trophy, so he'll try and win it, Solo says. And I agree with that comment. He will try and win this. He'll do everything he can. Adam Morris, what a little cheat that is. I wasn't born in 1991, so that's just showing how long ago we haven't won the FA Cup. I wasn't
born in 1991 either. I was born a bit before that, yeah.
Well done, Adam. Hardy hard, very funny. Crollo here, FA Cup. Imagine taking the Scumbags trophy off them. That meaning Arsenal. So yes, I would like us to lift that this season and call it our cup as opposed to Arsenal calling theirs. Crollo again. Who are you most afraid of in that Everton team, and do you think they'll go full strength? I'll ask you guys a question. Do you think Everton will go full strength for this? Will they put out their best 11 to try and win this game? Do you think that Carlo Ancelotti sees this is his best way of getting silverware this season?
I think he will. I'm not sure if he's got much more than 11 anyway. When you look at his bench, like he played Davis at the weekend, which surprised me. And then he took him off and all of that, and Gylfi came on. So, you know, Iwobi, is he top class? Not sure. Grumpy Richarlison. Have you ever seen anybody who's never look at that smile. He's never smiled in his life. He could score a hat-trick and not smile. And I think they'll go all out. And I think that Ancelotti is a serial winner like Jose. He'll want to win. And he'll go all out, and that's why I just think we need to stop Decore and Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, you know.
I agree with that. I mean, I think Everton last won the FA Cup 1995. So they're probably in the same sort of thought process as us, as they're not going to win the league, but this FA Cup's their best chance of any silverware. And I suppose once you get to the 5th round, if you're in that sort of Everton's situation, they'll probably finish around 8th in the league. They might as well go out and try and win the FA Cup. They've got nothing to lose. So I think they'll go for their strongest 11 they've got. I think Pickford's injured, isn't he? Or he's doubtful.
Yeah.
Which will be a big loss.
Because their keeper's a bit flat-footed, isn't he? So
just on this Everton thing, because I'm just looking at the league table. I know we've gone off topic slightly in terms of going on to Everton about the Premier League, but they've played 21 games. They're on 37 points. They're in 7th place. Liverpool played 23 on 40 points. So Everton, with their games in hand, could go into the top 4.
Yeah.
Do you think then that because of that, Ancelotti may see a top 4 finish as being more of a priority for him and the club than maybe winning an FA Cup? I don't know. It's a real tough one, because they have really got a good chance if they keep on performing as they've done, win their games in hand. They'll be in that top 4 comfortably.
I think he's like Jose. I think he's the serial winner, as I said. I think he'll want the top 4. He'll want a silverware. He's out of the Carabao Cup. He'll want the FA Cup, but I think he'll start again. So I think he'll want both. And but in the league, as much as it pains me to say, I think they've got a good chance, because getting that point of the weekend was a great result. And as you say, Mike, with the games in hand, they'd be in there. So there's more chance of West Ham dropping back and all this sort of stuff. So I think he'll want both. Okay,
that's a good shout. Go on to a couple more comments here. Solo 1979. What's going on with Gareth Bale? Is he injured? I don't think he's injured. Solo. So Colo's saying, no, mate, he's just bad. So again, the thing with Gareth Bale is we all kind of want this Gareth Bale to turn up that's left us 8 years ago, the one that's won 4 Champions League at Real Madrid. We're not going to see that Gareth Bale. We have to probably accept that he is, not to say he's just having a nice time being in England at Spurs, having left the toxic environment at Real Madrid, but sometimes you see him on the bench and he doesn't look overly concerned that he's not coming on. And that to me shows me, for a player that's won everything in the game, that maybe his desire to really do something for us isn't quite there. Don't get me wrong, he's a professional footballer, and I do think that he still has it in him, and it's just whether or not the desire's there. I'm just not sure the desire's there. I
think that I kind of think the opposite. I think his desire is there. I think he's, like you say, he's won everything in the game. So you could argue that there isn't much left for him to win. However, he's Tottenham. He's Tottenham through and through, really, isn't he? I mean, he came back to this club, the club that sort of put him onto the road of where he's been and what he's achieved, etc. But I think that burning desire, I don't think anyone in his position will be happy to sit there on that bench and be like, yeah, okay, I'm happy for Lamela or Lucas Moura, who, let's be honest, they couldn't tie his shoelaces up, could they? So I just can't see him being satisfied with being sat on a bench when he knows in his sort of deep in his heart that he's better than those players. He just needs consistent game time. I think he needs a run of 5 games. Like I've said this before, I think he needs about a run of games of about 5 to help him to get back into the swing of things and see what he's about. It might be a lack of confidence as well that might be the issue, but I still think there's a burning passion in him that is just sort of wanting to be unleashed, and he wants to get back out there and wants to prove to everyone that he is still the real deal. I mean, he's only 31, so he's still got time on his hands. I was going to say this, Gerard, do you think, as Mike does, that we've still got a top quality player in Gareth Bale? If he was to put that effort in, that we could have a real, because he's a match winner. At the end of the day, I've seen him turn matches for us and for Real Madrid and just turn them on as they say, on a knife edge, and just goes and does something special. Do you think we're going to see that again?
over the last couple of days, everybody coming out saying he's only 31. Look what he's done. He's still got it in him. Is all the ex-Welsh players, the ex-Welsh manager, Ashley Williams was on at the weekend, and all of this type of stuff. And this is the guy that stood there with a flag saying golf, Wales, Real Madrid, and all of this sort of stuff. And I just think there's a look in his eye. There was a shot when he walked past Jose when Lamela and all of that were coming on last week. And I haven't seen him run. I haven't seen him really push it. And if you look at what Lamela did with effort and endeavour, as you say, he hasn't got the talent anywhere near the talent of Bale. But we know that Jose wants that effort. He wants that endeavour. He wants that hard running. And, I'm just wondering if it's £500,000 a week to, enjoy life. And no one more than me when he came back was over the moon and thought this is it. But he ain't going to get a run and get 5 games. Jose won't do it.
No chance. And like I said, if I was on £500,000 a week, I would certainly be enjoying life. So I can't blame him. I can't blame him for the fact that he's done everything and is out. As I said, the environment he was at Real Madrid was really bad for him. And I think coming back to England, coming back to the UK, obviously was a big pull for him. Before we get into the score predictions,
you wouldn't take a pay cut down to £500,000 a week, Sam, though, would you?
You know what? I guess I'd 5%, 5%. Before we get into score predictions, well, let me just get through some more comments because there's quite a few coming through here. You'll like this one, Mike. Mike's face is telling me he's expecting Everton to turn you over. Just look at it. Now, was you putting a face on to say that Everton was going to win? That's from Mr. Silver Fox there. Mr. Silver Fox, that's a cheeky one there. Crollo, what are your guys' thoughts on playing 3 centre-backs to help with Calvert-Lewin's height in set pieces, knowing our abysmal track record? Now, obviously, the first game of the season was against Everton, and the winner came from Calvert-Lewin from a pretty decent header. I think we've improved defensively since then, although then we went back down and we kind of come back up. I don't know if necessarily by us playing 3 defenders that will help.
We should have won
attack.
that game as well.
Yeah, I think we should have won that game, but
we had no chance.
I don't necessarily think we're going to play through at the back. I think that's kind of it does depend on who we're playing, but I think most teams that play free Jose may decide possibly to match up. I can't really see him doing it against Everton because I'm not really sure they're going to be going to free. So
he might just go with Sissoko for that. He might just go with Sissoko for that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that. It's very
in midfield, so let's see.
It will be very interesting, that lineup tomorrow. Another comment here from Solo, and we says, do you believe due to injuries, Gareth Bale is not putting his body on the line to fulfill his true potential back at Tottenham? Bale is chilling right now. If you ask him where he'd rather sit on the bench, where would he choose? So this is what I'm saying. If he, given the choice, Gareth Bale would rather, he's getting paid the same amount of money. So, and let's try and take the money side out. I know it's hard to do, but I can see, as I understand as a person, that he wants to be somewhere where he's enjoying himself in his last few years of his career.
I just don't think any professional footballer in the twilight of their career is going to be happy to be sat on a bench. At the end of the day, you're playing football. You want to be out on the pitch, regardless of how much money you're earning. Even though he doesn't have anything to prove, this is what I'm saying. He has nothing to prove. Would you rather be collecting a shitload of money, or would you rather be known as be a club legend, be loved by the fans, and just be cemented as like one of the all-time type greats as such, and just be and just to be, like I say, just be a fan favourite? I personally, if I was in Bale's position, I think I'd play for free and just be happy to be playing football. I mean, he's 31; he doesn't need any more money, so he's probably got enough to look after his grandchildren and such. But I find it hard that any footballer would be satisfied being sat on a bench. I'll
give you one name of a player at the end of his career who's happy to be sitting on the bench. Joe Hart. You look at him every week; he's laughing, he's joking with the rest of the squad. You know, he's a happy, different level, but he's a happy player. And I just think that I just think it's just not right. And maybe he's at the right club, but he's with the wrong manager. and in the wrong team, because I think that the pace has gone. He's a yard slower. But is the effort there? Is the effort and endeavour there? That's the challenge.
And this is what I said to Sam. I was like, maybe Bale just needs to be reinvented. I mean, his legs might not be there. He might not have the engine that he used to have, where he could run up and down for 90 minutes on that left-hand flank and just cause carnage like he did at Inter Milan when he scored a hat-trick or whatever. But he's got that ability whereby you could play him up front like as the number 9. You could play him in the number 10. You could play him on either flank, but maybe he just needs to be reinvented and given a free role as such. I know you probably won't get that with Mourinho, but you don't lose your ability. You don't become a poor player overnight. So maybe it's just a case that Mourinho needs to find out how he can get the best out of Bale.
Yeah, listen, we spent a good nearly 10 minutes on Gareth Bale. This was on a prediction show, so maybe, and I think we should maybe have another show where we kind of discuss the ins and out of Gareth Bale, what's his thoughts on his thoughts for Spurs, and that's probably a good idea. We could do that. I think it's time now. We should get into score predictions. As our guest, Gerard, I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think the score is going to be tomorrow?
I'm going to be Mr. Predictable. I'm going to go 2-1. Harry, Sonny, and then Calvert-Lewin can have a consolation. There you go. And I just think it's there. I think Jose's focusing for the Cups. I think if Harry's playing, Sonny's alive. If Harry's not, he's a little bit lost. Yeah, but I think that's it. So I'm going to go 2-1, Harry and Sonny.
2-1. Mike?
See, the last game I said 2-0, but I was like in my head, it'd probably be 2-1. So I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. I'm going 2-0 Spurs. We're going to keep a clean sheet.
I'm thinking this is going to be a tight game. I think both teams will obviously want to win this game, and I can see it going possibly into extra time. I do. I generally do, because I think Jose has got enough respect for Ancelotti, and I think Ancelotti obviously has enough respect for Jose. If they both put out strong teams, I can see it being a very, very cagey game, not wanting to give too much away. And it will probably be the odd goal that does win it. I'm obviously going to say Spurs. In terms of a scoreline, I'm going to say there's going to be a few goals in it. So I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to take away that cagey thought. I think it's going to be a 3-2. I'm saying 3-2 to Spurs on that one.
In extra time.
Yeah. I think it might be like 2-2, and then it goes into extra time, and then I can see Harry Kane coming up with the winner. And then we'll all be on the reaction show and we'll be like saying, see, I told you. And I hope that will be the case. Gentlemen, it's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed tonight's one. Let's hope that we do get through to the next round. It would be really good for us to at least have enough, because Jose keeps saying it. He's got one in the pocket. What he means by that, he's obviously got a final in the pocket. Let's see if he can have another one in his other pocket. And you never know. There's a potential that we could have possibly 3 in the pocket. It's not going to be the Premier League this season. However, if we won the League Cup, Europa, and the FA Cup as a treble, I'll retire from this. I think I'll be done. I'll be sunning myself somewhere and not have to do this anymore. So we'll have to see what happens. But gentlemen, thank you very much. Both of you, I will see you on the reaction show tomorrow. And again, come on, you Spurs. Just as before I go, like, subscribe, share, comment. The road to 500. We want to get to 500 subscribers, and then there'll be a draw of your choice for a shirt, football shirt. Get my words getting out there. So yeah, we all want to get to those 500 subscribers. Like, subscribe, share, comment. FTB Sports. And as always, thank you, gentlemen. We shall see you again very soon.